Hello, everybody. Welcome to Clever Investments. Let's continue to talk about leveraged ETFs. So last time, at the end of the talk, we shared a simple example where the index first goes up 2% and then goes down 1.96%. We found that it loses about 0.001%. Or if it goes up 10% and drops 901%. It goes back to normal, but the leveraged ETF lose a lot more, lose 1.6%. Let's look at whether this is generic. Let's assume the index price can increase by delta in the first day, and then decrease by delta over 1 plus delta. So if in those 2 days, it first goes up by delta and goes down by delta over 1 plus delta, the final price after 2 days will be back to 1. From this simple formula, you can find out. Now let's calculate the leveraged ETF. Assume if it's 2x ETF, then N equal to 2. And if this is a 3x ETF, N would be 3. So the first day, if the index goes up by delta, then the leveraged ETF will go up by N delta. And the second day, if the ETF goes down by delta over 1 plus delta, then the leveraged ETF will go down by N delta over 1 plus delta. And you can see in formula 2. So we can use some very simple middle school math and simplify this. In the end, in equation 6, you can see that it's a number 1 minus something, and 1 minus a positive number. So this means after the index goes back to 1, the leveraged ETF will be lower than 1. Okay, so if the delta is bigger, basically if the index goes up and down and the bigger range, then this value is bigger and the leveraged ETF has a lower value. On the other hand, the N means 2 or 3, depending on whether it's a 2x or 3x ETF. If N equals to 2, this factor is 2, N times N minus 1. And if N equal to 3, N times N minus 1 becomes 3 times 2, which is 6. So it's much bigger than 2. So if N is bigger, the drop would also be bigger. So basically, the bigger the N, which is the amplification of the leveraged ETF, or the bigger of the price movement, the bigger of the loss for your leveraged ETF. So based on this formula, we can tell that for leveraged ETF, if you have a bigger leverage, it can hurt a lot. So basically, a 2x leveraged ETF is much safer than 3x because this N times N minus 1 is N squared. So 3x can give you a lot more risk. And also, bigger volatility hurts. So this delta basically is related to the volatility of the index. So if the index goes up and down in a bigger range, it has a higher volatility. And that's not good for leveraged ETF. So that means because we know that S&P 500 has less volatility than Nasdaq 100. So this means the 2x S&P 500 ETF is better, safer than 2x Nasdaq 100. Okay, so this only look at the very simple situation where the price doesn't change. But we know that in the long term, price may change. So next week, let's talk about that more generic form. That's all for today. Thank you.